Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here I have a great article for you guys from Light Reading. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys could check it out. So the AT&T outage has led to some positive news here. And that's what I figured would happen because you have to take measures and steps to prevent this from happening ever again, especially the amount of negative PR that it created and the spotlight that it put on you because you are the network for first responders. So FirstNet outage spawns new task force. FirstNet CEO commends AT&T for stepping up and prioritizing FirstNet service in a statement discussing the February 2022 outage. He writes that outage is the top order of business at FirstNet Authority next meeting. So they're meeting specifically on this outage. Now, I want to give you guys a brief story as to what took place internally. And I think most of you will have an understanding that that's what should have happened. So on the day of the outage, when it went down, like literally almost nationwide, when everybody got together in the in the big boardroom and they started meeting and then FirstNet and even some government agencies started showing up at AT&T like, hey, why is this outage happening? What's going on? The first order of business for that day was to get FirstNet up and running. Consumer, everyone else took a back seat. They didn't care about that. We need the FirstNet network and that part of the business up and running almost instantly. So they got that going first, I'm told. And that's what was discussed internally on the day of the 22nd of the outage happening. Those users were up and running first. They had to get them up and running no matter what. And that was the first order of business. And then everything else. And second, it was business customers, small business, big business, and then consumer. So this is very important for AT&T now. This is big on the radar. This is big on the meetings. It's all about FirstNet. That's just, you have to make that a priority because you put the spotlight on yourself by signing this over to this contract with FirstNet and first responders. So you have to make sure that your uptime is nearly perfect. You can't have any outages. So you have to, as a company, even if you thought you had the redundancy that leads to a reliable network, well, you got to think again and you got to become even more redundant. So that means you can't really allow even a fiber cut to affect your network. You got to build redundancy around that even. And that's all part of being the network for first responders. And that's an investment that AT&T will have to continuously make. They have to, during a fiber cut, just something as simple as a regional fiber cut, AT&T has to figure out a way somehow how to reroute that traffic to not allow the network to go down. And I think that's something that's still acceptable when it comes to redundancy, right? Like reasonable, like, hey, yes, we can still invest into this type of redundancy so we don't go down. But when you have a nationwide outage, the type that AT&T had, I still think the FCC needs to implement a roaming with another mobile network operator during the time of the outage. I just think that needs to be implemented. You just can't be down for 8 to 10 hours when you are the network for first responders. That just can't happen. But like I said in the previous video, these outages happen to any network. So that's what the FCC needs to put forth, that if AT&T is down, they can roam, the customers can roam on Verizon for the meantime. Even if it's a cap roaming or maybe they only allow calls and texting, whatever it is, they need to implement that because these outages can happen. And in some cases, no amount of redundancy can prevent them from happening. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. FirstNet they're developing a new task force. They're meeting. This is a big priority. And moving forward, This should make AT&T's network overall that much more redundant and that much more reliable. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.